What's going on, everybody? Sports Player 2.0 Daniel here. And guys, we went 4-4-1 in the NHL, 3-1 in the NBA, and 5-6 in the MLB. So we had a so-so day in the NHL, a good day in the NBA, and a bad day in the MLB. We went 500 in the NHL, which is so-so. We went 3-1, which is 2 games over 500, but we also got only one wrong out of 4. Well, that's not really that good, but it is still good. And in the MLB, we went 5-6, which is not what we wanted. So we got a rebound in the NHL and in the MLB. So let's move on to tomorrow's games. The Golden Knights are going to Anaheim to face the Ducks. The Golden Knights come in at 29-11-2, and the Ducks come in at 14-23-7. The last game for the Vegas Golden Knights, they won 6-2 versus the LA Kings, and for the Anaheim Ducks, they won 4-1 versus the San Jose Sharks. And the likely starters for this game is Robin Lehner for the Vegas Golden Knights and John Gibson for the Anaheim Ducks. And the Vegas Golden Knights are a favorite in this one. Give me the Golden Knights to win this game on the road in Anaheim. Next up, we have the Calgary Flames going to Montreal to face the Canadiens. The Flames come in at 19-21-3, and the Canadiens come in at 18-13-9. The last game these two teams played last time, and the Calgary Flames won 4-1. The likely starters for this game is Jacob Markstrom for the Calgary Flames and Carey Price for the Montreal Canadiens. And the Montreal Canadiens are a favorite in this one. Give me the Canadiens to win this game at home. Next up, we have the New York Islanders going to Boston to face the Bruins. The Islanders come in at 27-12-4, and the Bruins come in at 23-12-6. The last game these two teams played today, and the Boston Bruins won 4-1. The likely starters for this game is Ilya Sorokin for the New York Islanders and Yaroslav Halak for the Boston Bruins. And the Boston Bruins are a favorite in this one, but give me upset. Give me the Islanders to win this game on the road in Boston. Next up, we have the San Jose Sharks going to Minnesota to face the Wild. The Sharks come in at 18-20-4, and the Wild come in at 25-13-3. The last game for the San Jose Sharks, they lost 4-1 versus the Anaheim Ducks, and for the Minnesota Wild, they won 5-2 versus the Arizona Coyotes. And the likely starters for this game is Martin Jones for the San Jose Sharks and Cam Talbot for the Minnesota Wild. And the Minnesota Wild are a favorite in this one. Give me the Wild to win this game at home. Next up, we have the LA Kings going to Colorado to face the Avalanche. The Kings come in at 16-20-6, and the Avalanche come in at 39-4. The last game for the LA Kings, they lost 6-2 versus the Vegas Golden Knights, and for the Colorado Avalanche, they won 4-3 versus the St. Louis Blues. And the likely starters for this game is Cal Peterson for the LA Kings and Philip Grubauer for the Colorado Avalanche. And the Colorado Avalanche are a favorite in this one. Give me the Avalanche to win this game at home. And that does it for the NHL. Let's move on to the NBA. The Knicks are going to Dallas to face the Mavericks. The Knicks come in at 29-27, and the Mavericks come in at 30-24, and the Dallas Mavericks are a 5-point favorite in this one. Give me the Mavericks to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Indiana Pacers going to Utah to face the Jazz. The Pacers come in at 26-28, and the Jazz come in at 41-14, and the Utah Jazz are a 9.5-point favorite in this one. Give me the Jazz to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder going to Detroit to face the Pistons. The Thunder come in at 20-35, and the Pistons come in at 16-39. I'm gonna go with the home team here. Give me the Pistons to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Clippers going to Philadelphia to face the 76ers. The Clippers come in at 39-18, and the 76ers come in at 38-17. This is a really good game right here, and I'm gonna go with the home team again. Give me the 76ers to win this game at home. Next up, we have the New Orleans Pelicans going to Washington to face the Wizards. The Pelicans come in at 25-30, and the Wizards come in at 21-33, and the New Orleans Pelicans are a 2-point favorite in this one. Give me the Pelicans 2 in this game on the road in Washington. Next up, we have the Charlotte Hornets going to Brooklyn to face the Nets. The Hornets come in at 27-27, and the Nets come in at 37-18, and the Brooklyn Nets are a 13.5-point favorite in this one. Give me the Nets in a money line, but give me the Hornets plus 13.5. That is too much. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets will score more than 13.5. So give me the Nets in a money line, but give me the Hornets plus 13.5. Next up, we have the Orlando Magic going to Tampa Bay to face the Raptors. The Magic come in at 18-37, and the Raptors come in at 22-34. Give me the home team here. Give me the Raptors 2 in this game at home. Next up, we have the Memphis Grizzlies going to Chicago to face the Bulls. The Grizzlies come in at 27-26, and the Bulls come in at 22-32. Give me the Grizzlies 2 in this game on the road in Chicago. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets going to Houston to face the Rockets. The Nuggets come in at 35-20, and the Rockets come in at 14-41. And the Denver Nuggets are an 8.5-point favorite in this one. Give me the Nuggets 2 in this game on the road in Houston. Next up, we have the Miami Heat going to Minnesota to face the Timberwolves. The Heat come in at 28-27, and the Timberwolves come in at 14-42. I'm going to go with the Heat here. Give me the Heat 2 in this game on the road in Minnesota. Next up, we have the Trailblazers going to San Antonio to face the Spurs. The Trailblazers come in at 31-23, and the Spurs come in at 26-27, and the Portland Trailblazers are a 1.5-point favorite in this one. Give me the Trailblazers 2 in this game on the road in San Antonio. And that does it for the NBA. Let's move on to the MLB. The Mets are going to Colorado to face the Rockies. The Mets come in at 5-3, and the Rockies come in at 3-10. For the New York Mets, they won their series. They won all 3 games against the Phillies. The last game got postponed today because of rain. It was really raining in New York, so they couldn't play. And it looks like the Mets swept them because they won all 3 games and the Phillies won none. So it's like a sweep for the Mets, but not really because that 4th game is still yet to be played. And for Colorado, they got swept by the Dodgers 3-0. They lost all 3 games against the Dodgers. And the pitching matchup for this game is Jacob deGrom for the New York Mets and Chichi Gonzalez for the Colorado Rockies. And I don't know who's favorite in this one, but give me the Mets 2 in this game on the road in Colorado. And there's no over-under, so I don't know. Next up, we have the Braves going to Chicago to face the Cubs. The Braves come in at 5-8, and the Cubs come in at 5-7. For the Atlanta Braves, they lost their series against the Marlins. They only won 1 out of the 4 games against the Marlins, so they lost 3 games out of the 4. And for the Chicago Cubs, they lost their series 2-1 versus the Milwaukee Brewers. They only won 1 out of the 3 games against the Brewers. And the pitching matchup for this game is Drew Smyly for the Atlanta Braves and Zach Davies for the Chicago Cubs. And the Atlanta Braves are a favorite in this one. Give me the Cubs 2 in this game at home, and give me the over 7.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks going to Washington to face the Nationals. The Diamondbacks come in at 5-8, and the Nationals come in at 3-7. Game 1 of this series was won by the Arizona Diamondbacks by a final score of 11-6. The pitching matchup for this game is Taylor Widener for the Arizona Diamondbacks and Max Scherzer for the Washington Nationals. And the Washington Nationals are a favorite in this one. Give me the Nationals 2 in this game at home, and give me the under 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the St. Louis Cardinals going to Philadelphia to face the Phillies. The Cardinals come in at 6-6, and the Phillies the same, 6-6. For the St. Louis Cardinals, they lost their series to the Nationals. They lost 2 out of the 3. The Nationals won 2 out of the 3. And for the Phillies, like I said, they got swept by the Mets, but not really because the last game got postponed. They lost all 3 games against the Mets. And the pitching matchup for this game is Carlos Martinez for the St. Louis Cardinals and Zach Eflin for the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Philadelphia Phillies are a favorite in this one. Give me the Phillies 2 in this game at home, and give me the over 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Rays going to New York to face the Yankees. The Rays come in at 5-8, and the Yankees come in at 5-7. Tampa Bay lost their series to the Texas Rangers. They lost 3 out of the 4 games against the Texas Rangers. And for the New York Yankees, they lost their series to the Blue Jays. They lost 2 out of the 3 games against the Blue Jays. And the pitching matchup for this game is Michael Vaca for the Tampa Bay Rays, and for the New York Yankees, they're undecided on who they want to pitch for tomorrow. So there's no clear starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. And I'm gonna go with the Rays here. Give me the Rays 2 in this game on the road in New York. Next up, we have the Chicago White Sox going to Boston to face the Red Sox. It's the battle between the Sox here. The White Sox come in at 6-7, and the Red Sox come in at 9-4. For the Chicago White Sox, they tied their series against the Indians. They split the 4 games. They split the 4 games. They went 2-2 against the Indians. And for the Boston Red Sox, they won their series against the Twins. They won 3 out of the 4 games, losing the last game to the Twins. They couldn't complete the sweep. And the pitching matchup for this game is Dylan Cease for the Chicago White Sox and Nick Pivetta for the Boston Red Sox. And again, there's no favorite in this one and no over-under, but I'm going to go with the Red Sox here. Give me the Red Sox 2 in this game at home. Next up, we have the Cleveland Indians going to Cincinnati to face the Reds. The Indians come in at 7-5. And the Reds come in at 7-5. This is the battle between Ohio right here. Cleveland versus Cincinnati. And for Cleveland, they tied their series. They went 2-2 against the White Sox. They split with the White Sox. They went 2-2 with the White Sox. And the Cincinnati Reds, they lost their series to the Giants. They lost 2 out of the 3 games against the Giants. And the pitching matchup for this game is Logan Allen for the Cleveland Indians and Jeff Hoffman for the Cincinnati Reds. And this one's a pick'em, and I'm going to pick the Indians 2 in this game on the road in Cincinnati, and give me the over 9 runs in that game. Next up, we have the San Francisco Giants going to Miami to face the Marlins. The Giants come in at 8-4, and the Marlins come in at 5-7. San Francisco Giants won their series. They won 2 out of the 3 games against the Reds. And for the Miami Marlins, they won their series against the Braves. They won 3 out of the 4 games against the Braves. They had a 4-game set against the Braves. And the pitching matchup for this game is Anthony Desclafani for the San Francisco Giants and Daniel Castano for the Miami Marlins. And the San Francisco Giants are a favorite in this one. Give me the Giants 2 in this game on the road in Miami. And give me the under 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Baltimore Orioles going to Texas to face the Rangers. The Orioles come in at 5-8, and the Rangers come in at 6-7. For the Baltimore Orioles, they lost their series against the Mariners. They lost 3 out of the 4 games against the Mariners. They had both doubleheaders in both games because, I don't know, they got postponed. And for the Texas Rangers, they won 3 out of the 4 games against the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays. They beat the Rays 3 out of the 4 times they played. And the pitching matchup for this game is Jorge Lopez for the Baltimore Orioles and Mike Foltynewicz for the Texas Rangers. And the Texas Rangers are a favorite in this one. Give me the Rangers 2 in this game at home, and give me the over 9 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates going to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. The Pirates come in at 5-8, and the Brewers come in at 7-5. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, they split their series against the Padres. They They won 2-2. They went 2-2 against the Padres. And for the Milwaukee Brewers, they won their series against the Cubs. They won 2 out of the 3 games against the Cubs. And the pitching matchup for this game is JT Brubaker for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Adrian Hauser for the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Milwaukee Brewers are a favorite in this one. Give me the Brewers to win this game at home, and give me the under 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Toronto Blue Jays going to Kansas City to face the Royals. The Blue Jays come in at 6-7, and the Royals come in at 7-4. Game 1 of this series was won by the Kansas City Royals by a final score of 7-5. The pitching matchup for this game is Steven Matz for the Toronto Blue Jays and Mike Minor for the Kansas City Royals. And the Toronto Blue Jays are a favorite in this one. Give me the Blue Jays to win this game on the road in Kansas City, and give me the under 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Minnesota Twins going to Los Angeles to face the Angels. The Twins come in at 6-7, and the Angels come in at 7-5. For the Minnesota Twins, they lost their series against the Red Sox. They lost 3 out of the 4. They won the final game against the Red Sox. And for the Los Angeles Angels, they lost 2 out of the 3 games against the Kansas City Royals. And the pitching matchup for this game is Lewis Torp for the Minnesota Twins and Andrew Heaney for the Los Angeles Angels. And I don't know who's favored in this one, but give me the Angels to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Detroit Tigers going to Oakland to face the Athletics. The Tigers come in at 6-7, and the Athletics come in at 6-7. The Tigers, for the game 1 of this series, was won by the Oakland Athletics by a final score of 8-4. The pitching matchup for this game is Jose Urania for the Detroit Tigers and Frankie Montas for the Oakland Athletics. I just think this is a bad pitching matchup because Jose Urania has been struggling for the Detroit Tigers, so I think it's a bad matchup for the Tigers, and the Oakland Athletics are a favorite in this one. Give me the Athletics to win this game at home, and give me the over 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Houston Astros going to Seattle to face the Mariners. The Astros come in at 6-6, and the Mariners come in at 8-5. For the Houston Astros, they got swept by the Tigers. They lost all 3 games against the Tigers. And for the Seattle Mariners, they won 3 out of the 4 games against the Baltimore Orioles. And the pitching matchup for this game is Jose Urquidy for the Houston Astros and Yusei Kikuchi for the Seattle Mariners. And the Houston Astros are a favorite in this one, but give me upset. Give me the Seattle Mariners to win this game at home, and give me the over 8 runs in that game. And the final match of the day, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers going to San Diego to face the Padres. The Dodgers come in at 11-2, and the Padres come in at 9-5. For the LA Dodgers, they swept the Rockies. They won all 3 games against the Rockies. And for the San Diego Padres, they tied their series against the Pirates. They went 2-2 against the Pirates. They split. And the pitching matchup for this game is Walker Buehler for the LA Dodgers and Ryan Weathers for the San Diego Padres. And the LA Dodgers are a favorite in this one. Give me the Dodgers to win this game on the road in San Diego, and give me the under 8 runs in that game. That does it for today's picks for tomorrow's games. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please give me the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.